They say investing in agriculture is the best weapon against poverty and hunger. And so a lawmaker filed a bill encouraging students to take programs in agriculture, forestry, and fisheries. We discussed the Agripreneurs Scholarship Program Act with Party List Representative Wilbert Lee. Kong Wilbert, thank you so much for joining us. Today's World Food Day, and we are faced, as we've been discussing over the past weeks and months, a food crisis. How will this Scholarship Program Act encourage our youth to return to farming?
Thank you, Rico. Let me just put this into perspective. No less than the president himself said that the agriculture sector should be the priority of the government in the bid to boost our country's food security. As we know, food security is a growing global concern now. And given that the average age of our farmers now is 57 to 59 years old, we need to find a way to inject new blood or fresh blood into the farming industry or the agriculture sector and teach and train this new or fresh batch with quality agriculture education that can and will adapt to technological advances and scientific developments. As I mentioned earlier, it was 57. The average age of our farmers is 57 to 59 years old. So if you look at it, 10 to 15 years from now, they will be about 70 to 75 years old. If we don't do anything about this right now, in a matter of 10 to 15 years, we will face a shortage of farmers now.
That's right.
It is in this premise that, I filed House Bill 2419, which encourages more students to pursue college and take up agriculture-related courses.
That's right.
So,
Kong Wilbert,
so
that's correct, no? I mean, the farmers are getting older now, and most probably in a decade, they'll be in their 70s. Because I've also spoken to a lot of these farmers, and they've all told me that many of their sons and daughters want to work either in the city or overseas as professionals rather than become farmers, because the income is not consistent. But if they're nurses or if they're overseas contract workers, the income is more consistent rather than in the farming community, because a lot of the farmlands that they till or their parents till sometimes is hit by typhoons year in and year out.
Correct. So as I go around the country, I always hear them saying that you go to the city, study hard, don't come back here, don't be like us, don't be farmers. It's very sad to note that if you look at the farmers in other countries, they're the one who have the money, but here in our country it's the other way around. So the bill basically that I filed is saying that to encourage more students to go into agri-related courses, of course with the comprehensive support from the government. We all know that the universal access to quality tertiary education act has already been passed by the last Congress. But even if the tuition fees are already free, we know that unfortunately there are still so many expenses that many of our farmers cannot afford. So this bill basically answers for all of that.
And how much budget are you planning to allocate for this particular act, Kong Wilbert?
In the bill, I put there that initially 1 billion pesos will be allocated, and it will be appropriated every year in the General Appropriation Act. 1 billion to fund these scholars, agri student scholars.
And how many students will this cover? The 1 billion a year.
We're looking, we don't have the exact data now, but initially I'm looking at about 200,000 students to cover, to be able, this 1 billion fund will cover about approximately 200,000 students.
And have you already identified, Kong Wilbert, which schools will be partners of this initiative? Will these state universities and colleges and partner private higher education institutions also be across the country?
Yeah, across the country, all state universities, even private colleges, can provided that there will be qualifications for students to be able to avail this scholarship. No, first they have to be a Filipino citizen. They have to be at least a high school graduate with a passing mark in their schools, no passing grade, and then the family, no, they should come from the family, the family of the student should be that cannot afford, no, to send them to schools, no. So these are some of the requirements for the student to qualify to this scholarship fund.
And from your outlook, Kong Wilbert, do you think that this program will increase our production output if you're seeing more than 200,000 scholars to be part of this law? Do you think we could see a higher production output?
Yes, of course, definitely. No, this would translate to about 200,000 farmers in the next decade. No, so we're looking at increasing productivity, of course. No,
and how soon do you want this to be a law? This Agripreneurs Scholarship Act.
We'll push hard for this to be enacted. No, I've talked to several of my colleagues in the House, and they've been supportive of this. No, even as we know, after the lower house, it should go to the Senate. So I've talked to several senators also, and they're also receptive and supportive of this. So I'll push hard for this. Now, when Congress resumes this November, I'll push hard for this bill to be passed immediately.
All the best to your Agripreneurs Scholarship Program Act. Agri Party List Representative Wilbert Lee.